Okay.
All right, that's that.
Okay, so you were live and now you're recording officially.
But now I don't know where we are. Okay, so we on. I didn't get the notification that we're on Facebook here. Do you see it?
It says live on Facebook.
There we go. Okay. All right, we on there. Yeah, we good.
All right.
Bet. All right. It's been shit. How long has it been? It's probably been what,
a long time. Months? It's been a couple of haircuts.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So, a lot has happened in our lives personally. And so, as things go, as life happens, we have to adjust and move and adapt. And so it's been a while since we've been able to enjoy this platform. But, nonetheless, we're back. We're here. Still just two random ass black men with a bunch of things to say, but nothing really going on about it. So still got opinions and thoughts and ideas, and don't know what we're going to talk about tonight, but I guess we'll figure it out.
Right. So. I'm running a campaign to bring Trump back, so we have stuff to talk about.
Hey, look, Trump, what they say, they don't even have a running mate though for him, right? They don't say Trump Pence 24. Your boy, what's his name? DeSantis.
Is he actually, hold on,
you think he's got a shot?
running?
Huh?
Trump's gonna run?
Trump ain't gonna run, man. Man ain't no. Hey, but he does. They say, I think I heard the other day, he's got like $100 million in the coffer for a re-election. I don't know whether it be re-election or a new election or how that works. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's you still got, and the crazy part about it is we are this is August, so we're 7 months into Biden's presidency, and you still got people, oh man, election was rigged. That Mr. Pillow guy, that man is still out there in them streets spending his money talking about the election was rigged. Like,
yeah.
Come on, bro. Come on, man.
But you've seen, and I think a lot of the people who have been saying that has also been, like, you remember they were really harping on that particular voting system.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what is it? Because they're suing them now, right? What is the name of that place?
I don't know. Are they? Well, yeah, they are suing the people who tried to basically slander them. And so you're seeing now that turn and twist where, oh, it was rigged, it was because of these systems, Now no one's saying because of these systems, they're just, oh, it's just rigged.
Yeah. They I didn't, and I heard all types of, they used Chinese paper, and the Chinese paper can change votes from this to that. And I was like, some of the stuff, I'm like, y'all, come on, man.
There's magical Chinese paper?
Yeah. Oh man, they found 18,000 votes hidden in the sewer in Arizona, and now they got these I can't, you got these folks that are out here just pushing this narrative, making it, people fearful about thinking that their votes. I mean, you're hurting the Republican Party, because at this point, Republicans like, well, shit, it's gonna be a rigged election. I'm not gonna vote anyway. You're hurting your own use case here. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's a foolishness.
It is.
But there's always been that, right? And so, and it filters down to, I guess, what we're going to be talking about a little bit today, at least. COVID is a thing again, and we have people who are still saying, "Oh, this is just a deep state or whatever." It's still something that's made up by somebody. Now, at this point, I'm kind of I'm at a impasse, right? With people who are saying I'm not going to get the vaccine. I feel like I've got a lot of friends now that I've kind of, straw polled. And so there's a lot of people who don't want to get the vaccine. And to those people, I'm like, okay, that's your choice.
Yeah.
Just remember what you signed up for when you say that, when you do that, right? And I even have family members who are in the same boat. I just don't know. Which I think is weird because the common phrase is, I don't want to take it because I'm not familiar with it, or I don't know what the effects will be of it. And I struggle with that, with especially those, forever Trumpers, who were on the same boat of saying, well, look how quickly he got a vaccine, and look how quickly he was going to eradicate this. Well, the reason that we don't have it officially approved is because of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that it was the wrong thing to do. I think actually it was the right thing to do, to rush it through, because people were dying at such a rate.
Yeah.
Right? Now, whether or not we're at a point where we have therapeutics and we can treat it, I don't know. I mean, I assume so. I assume that, we know enough about it to a point where it will prevent less deaths. But, for all the things that people complain about with the vaccine, and I think the biggest thing about it after not knowing what the long-term effects will be is side effects. Well, side effects are the only side effect that I know of is not death. So it's like, okay, yeah, you get. I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, I'm fully vaccinated. The second shot, it made me feel bad for almost literally 24 hours. Like, I woke up, I wasn't feeling well. I went to bed, I was better.
Yeah.
And that's just it. So, but ever since then, I've been fine, and I've been around, and I've gone without mask from time to time. I am back masked and everything along those lines. But what are you doing? You gonna say hello?
Say hello to the cameras.
You say hello?
Don't act shy now.
Oh, Lord. All right. Good night. All right. But yeah, I mean, I will take 24 hours of not feeling okay.
Yeah.
Or not potentially getting it and having to go through the incubator and potentially die.
Yeah. And that's where we're at. Like, the reality is that you got folks who are still denying the, of where we are or why we're here, or even those who question the like you said, the efficacy of it. And, well, oh man, I heard that my cousin, sister's brother, daughter's uncle Jack got the vaccine and died. Jack had a heart attack. He just so happened to get the vaccine and had a clogged artery the next day, and that you can't correlate the two, right? That's a lot of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But even if you look at, I think they've isolated like 240 something deaths, and they don't know if it's actually related to the vaccine, but maybe there's like there's allergic reaction, or those who took the Johnson & Johnson and developed the blood clots. It's if you look at 100 million people being vaccinated, or is that where we're at? Is that just in the US? Might just be in the US. So worldwide, you may be looking.
I think other countries are other countries that have enough of the vaccine are doing pretty well.
Are doing that, right? So we're looking at, so even I think 243 versus 100 million people here in the US. If you look at the deaths, I mean, you had over, last count I've seen was back in 2-3 months ago was 600,000 people have died from COVID in the United States, versus 243. And don't get me wrong, because I don't want to diminish those lives of the 243 people, because those folks were somebody's uncles, brothers, aunts, cousins, daughters, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters. I get it. And those lives do matter. But in the grand scheme of things, you've got 243 plus. We're probably at damn near 1 million people, well, over 1 million people worldwide. I know that for sure. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at that like I don't know how you understand. How can you deny kind of the facts behind it, right? I seen this nurse on TikTok, oddly enough, and she was like, you got 96% of doctors in the US that are vaccinated, but 50% of nurses. There is a huge educational gap of where this thing comes from. And so you've got more nurses out there, spreading misinformation, spreading fears. Those, I've been working in COVID for the last 18 months and I got it. I wasn't bad, but you're still the same person that helped intubate, 27,000 people over the last 18 months either, and seen 27,000 people go on ventilators and only 3 come off of them. You've seen it firsthand, the effects of it, but yet you're still saying, well, don't trust the science. Well, at what point do you trust the science, right? I mean, we trust science in every other aspect of our life. We trust that we're on the highway going 80 miles an hour, that the science behind that brake pedal is going to work if we need to use it. The science behind flying is going to work if we, when we decide to get out and travel. Like we don't question everything else. It's always, for some odd reason, the stuff that we don't seem to understand the most, we want to question it the most, or we want to, we find that one doctor. There's a million doctors in this country, and there's 7 that think that you can cure, COVID by cracking your back and walking on your spine. I guess it doesn't make sense to me. It's one of those things that we're gonna be perpetually in this state for a while. Now I pray we don't go back into lockdowns again. I think at this point it'll be more socially detrimental than anything. But it's we can't get our shit together. You got whole ass governors out there trying to fight school districts from putting on masks. Let the school districts do what they do. Let local governments worry about what they want to worry about. And if the people don't like the mask mandates, if they don't like the local governments, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna vote their asses out next time, right? Let that work. Like, why are you so hell bent on? Nope, we're gonna make sure that you're gonna take funding away from school systems because they want to put masks on. So who does that hurt? That hurts your already underpaid teachers. That hurts your already disenfranchised Black and brown youths in those schools. That hurts your already underpaid staff in these schools. You're gonna truly put your students and teachers at even more risk now financially because you're trying to push an agenda. Come the fuck on, Republicans. Like, people don't see that shit. That's what gets me. Like,
and so, but yet they will be up in arms about defund the police.
Yeah.
Here we are talking about defunding education.
Defunding education because you want to wear a mask, but we say defund the police and as a euphemism for let's reappropriate funds to the right place. But defund is what's stuck, and defund now the police is a curse word, and you want to use that as a rallying cry and back the blue. Okay, well, black, I don't know what colors you would associate with green with teachers, but back the teachers, huh? How about that? Right. You wanna cut their funding because people want to wear a mask? Fuck, like, come on, man. Like, it's just I failed to understand how the Republican base don't see through this bullshit. Like, am I the only one?
No, I think it's we are polarized, right? People are afraid to, I think, and I'm not even going to say the majority of people. I'm just going to say those loudmouths that we hear are afraid to really sit in the center in some instances, right? It's, whatever my leader says, whoever that may be at the time, is what I'm going to ride with. I'm going to ride with it until I die with it.
Yeah.
We were talking about, this lady who got upset with me because I used laughing emojis over the death of her mother. I did it. Yeah, I did. But I did it on a post where she was saying unmasked, unvaccinated, unbothered. So your mother dying didn't bother you? So why? So So yes, I thought that was kind of hilarious that you would go and go that far, and then get hurt and be butthurt about a reaction from someone who just thought you were being a clown.
Yeah.
Trying to tell people, oh, don't trust this, don't trust that, but your parents came to it, and that's my whole thing with all these people who are unvaccinated. Now, Black people, I understand you don't want to get it because the Tuskegee experiments were a real thing. I was right there with you. I'll be honest with you. If I was a part of the first group, probably wouldn't have taken it myself. But I saw that, all these groups ahead of me, were, they were getting it. I didn't hear about any additional deaths.
Yeah.
It seemed as though it was working. Long-term effects we won't know, right? But I do trust the science of I took the Pfizer vaccine. I understand the whole RNA bit. I think it's supposed to be very similar to, the way that the flu vaccine is administered. So I understood that.
Yeah.
Now, the Johnson & Johnson and maybe the AstraZeneca, I didn't understand those quite as much. And I felt like there was something behind one shot that you needed to have a booster for, and then one that was kind of all in. And that always kind of sat weird with me. But, it's a troubling thing with the way that those small few kind of react to things, right? And yes, it is most of the I'm not even going to say conservatives. I'm going to say Republican, people who are just diehard, red or nothing folks who just follow blindly.
Yeah.
A politician, you should not value a politician's word over that of a doctor or a scientist. That's just what it is. I don't care who you are, what side of the aisle you're on. You shouldn't. Yeah. I mean,
and they do though. That's people. They now trust Ted Cruz over Dr. Fauci. Like,
yeah, Dr. Fauci, all his years of work is now, the scum of the earth and all this other stuff that's been said. Because why?
Yeah.
Because he suggests that you wear a mask, because from all the things I've heard him say, he never gives you a really definitive anything.
Yeah.
But it's always, well, this is what needs to be done in order to get to X, Y, and Z. Now, whether or not it happened or not, all these things are hypotheses. We don't know.
Yeah.
But he's doing his job. How do you stop a pandemic? You limit the access.
Yeah.
You limit the way that it's transmitted. Why is this debatable? Why is this a thing? But I don't know. It's disheartening, and I wish we were a more informed society, a more caring society, to understand that things need to be done differently in order to have a different outcome. You'll be okay walking into Kroger with your mask on for the 5 to 10 minutes that you're in there for, and you don't have to make a big scene. You don't have to cuss out people. Your rights are not being violated. That's just what I think that's the thing that kills me the most. The people that are claiming their rights being violated. Well, the store has rights as well. The people that are in there have rights also. So why should you trample over mine, for yours?
For yours, yeah. So what do you think about some of the economic side of COVID and where we are now, them extending the eviction moratorium?
I think that it is, I don't know. I think, in the beginning of this, I was all for saving, not putting people out on the streets, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a really tough time. And I mean, I think just the economy in general is having a really tough time with COVID, right? Like maybe stores and people that aren't within, or in the supply chain base and things along those lines, maybe not, we won't see it. But I mean, it's tough out there just in general and in just about every industry. But I think it's going to be very difficult to figure out a way to ease these things back, ease these moratoriums, ease these mortgages, rentals, all these things back into place. I mean, I'm sure that there are landlords out there right now just waiting for it to be over to pull the plug on someone who hasn't paid them.
Yeah. Well, I seen a story of this couple who they were taking their rent money, saving it, and end up buying a house. They use their rent money as a down payment to buy a house so they had the money, they were able to pay, but they knew that they couldn't be evicted either. And so,
right. See, and that, I mean, as a homeowner who has renters, that would suck.
Yeah, it would. And I don't know I guess you still have legal recourse to go after people for, unpaid rent throughout all of this. But this moratorium thing is like, I guess for me is, and here's the part of the moratorium I don't understand, right? If you're going to give all these people this extra money for unemployment because they can't pay their rent because they lost their job, so now they get unemployment, so they're getting money that way. So if you're not forcing people to pay where they have to live with the money you're giving them from unemployment, what are you expecting them to use the money for?
Right.
That's my question, right? So why can't that go towards their housing? Because clearly people aren't choosing to use it for that. There's many accounts out there, folks who have the money, they know they can't get evicted, so we're just going to hold off on it and not pay it.
Well, I mean,
I may owe you at the end, but let me go ahead and throw this in. I'll buy some Dogecoin because it's going to the moon. So I'm gonna go in and spend your rent money on that and see what happens.
And you know what? I think that that was the point I was about to make. I think a lot of people are investing.
Yeah.
That money, the excess that they're having. And I guess at this point, the question is, should you have excess? And I don't know about your industry, but I know in my industry, labor is a problem now.
Yeah.
People don't want to go back to work. I think we predicted originally that it was going to be difficult to go back to work as normal previously. And I think that's pretty standard across the board. I work with a lot of different companies, and I think they all, for the most part, have said that when things are back to quote unquote normal, even the way that they go to work will be different. Whether it's a flex schedule, whether it's kind of a work from home kind of base type thing, whether maybe even some of these satellite buildings that companies have bought, they will now just kind of rent out floors of multi-use buildings and things along those lines. So I don't know, man. I guess I'll put my fiscal conservative hat on and say we have to stop doing something.
Yeah.
So it's either you keep people housed and protected and you take away unemployment, or you keep doing unemployment, but now people need to start paying
their rent. Yeah. Because what's going to happen when the landlord can't make their mortgage payment, they get foreclosed on,
right?
Or it's going to be a domino effect, and I don't know, man. I don't know if we think through, like we push through some of these things that sound great and sound good, and it's like, hey, we're gonna have a moratorium because we can't have people losing their houses. But why are we paying you extra $700 a month? If you
is that still going on? Like, I haven't heard.
Oh, I don't know. No, now so the extra money stopped.
Okay.
So it's interesting. So it stopped July 31st. And I've had more applicants to open positions in my warehouse since that ended after July 31st. Couldn't pay people literally to come work. Offering all types of bonuses. I'm trying to compete with goddamn Chick-fil-A and McDonald's down the street. At fucking Taco Bell.
Right.
Paying more than me. I think they were starting out at like $16 an hour at Taco Bell.
Yeah,
offering $2,000 sign-on bonuses. Huh?
Right. Yeah, it probably gave him like a $2,000 bonus.
Yeah, $2,000 sign-on bonus. You had McDonald's down the street giving out $100 application bonuses. Just fill out the app, and we gonna give you $100. And I'm trying to compete with that. And I've got my district and higher level HR is, well, you need to push the culture. Don't nobody give a fuck about culture. Don't nobody care about them getting meals, once a month, or us passing out free t-shirts.
Some people do care about the culture.
So they do, but the people that are going back and forth between my warehouse and Taco Bell and McDonald's is like, show me the money.
Right. Oh, I'm with
you. I had to, in order to be competitive, I had to put my starting wage. My starting wage now is $19.55, right? And I had to, but I couldn't just make my starting wage now that I had to give all of my other associates that have been there the same increase that I gave everybody else. So I've got HR associates making $35 an hour. I've got my average warehouse worker making like $26, $27 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, shit, all that comes out of, stuff we didn't budget for and plan for. Messes with my bonus. I mean, I can't look at it like that, but I do. That's just what it is.
You go to work to make money.
Yeah, like that's messing up my money. But it's the fact that we're doing all these things, and it's so here's where the Republican part of me comes out, because having been on this side of the house and literally trying to hire people for months, is like, you hear, oh, people don't want to work, and it sounds cliche, but from the horse's mouth, people don't want to fucking work. Mm-hmm. And so the pushback that I get from folks is, well, yeah, people don't want to work for less than minimum wage, as they shouldn't, right? So I get it. Let's stick it to McDonald's and we're gonna not work, right? But who's paying unemployment? McDonald's ain't paying unemployment. Burger King ain't paying unemployment. That's coming out of you and I pockets. That's coming out of American taxpayers' pockets. Now they pay what they pay. No, we pay who pays the what's the name tax? Is that us or the employer?
What?
The is it employment tax, or
it's all
covers unemployment?
I think it's coming out of something like that.
Maybe both.
It comes out of your check.
Both buckets. Both of us pay for it. So I really get offended when I'm talking to people and they're defending those who are choosing not to work, even though they have, you don't have any excuses. I get it. Both people may be laid off. Kids are at school or virtual, and you don't have it. You can't, if you work and you can't afford. That part I got you. If you can't navigate those waters because you've got everything else because of COVID kind of keeping you down, and working would only make things worse, got that part of things, right? But if you're just sitting at home because I can get paid more than going to, work at McDonald's or Walmart or whatever, you. Okay. And I will say that again. Fuck you. Can y'all hear me in my new little microphone? Fuck you. Right. Because that sucks. It's because you've got, many of us who, even despite now fortunate enough to have been still employed during the pandemic and, be able to keep our jobs and not have to worry about those type things. But the fact is that, we're still out there. I'm around, 200-300 different people every day. My risk of exposure is higher than a lot of folks every day. Mask or no mask, vaccine or no vaccine, it's still real in these streets. And so the fact that you've got people electing not to work because they can get paid more for sitting on their ass, oh, that's just the American way. Fuck you, okay? That's that. All that does is end up hurting things in the back end. What if we all elected not to work? Well, somebody's got to pay the goddamn taxes, right? Now I get it. You can argue, oh well, what about your Bezos? And I'm with you. All of them motherfuckers need to pay taxes too, and figure out ways to get them to start paying taxes. But as of right now, they don't. So what we have to do, you pay taxes, I pay taxes, everyone around us pays taxes. And we do everything we do to try to limit our tax burden, but at the end of the day, we still paying. And that's where that money comes out of. And it's just, I have no issue with supporting people who need support. But that's where I draw the line is when I see you overtly trying to get over on the system, people that I know, people that I'm legit family and friends and we share the same bloodline with that are doing dumb shit like that and tell me and try to justify it. Come on, man. Like that's just, I don't know. I call them cold or heartless, but I got a job for you. I got 4 open positions, 5 open positions right now. 5.
Well, you know what? So there's a lot to unpack there, right? So let me ask you this question. I'm an individual contributor, so I wouldn't know. But since you're one that hires, does the performing, you have people report to you. All these increases. What's the plan once everything is,
they're gonna take them away.
Okay.
So all of my starting wages. So we gave everybody a 75 cents. I think we gave everybody a 75-cent base pay raise. Now that'll stay the same. And then we added another $4 as a peak premium and COVID premium or premium, all set to expire at the end of this year.
Okay.
So that'll go away. But here's the reality: is we had it up until February of this year. They got rid of it and they brought it right back. So will they end up keeping it? They may split the difference and let the associates keep the other half of it, which I'm not necessarily mad at. I mean, I work for Walmart, which a lot of people would know on here, and Walmart has a lot of money. They make tons of money, and they can afford to pay. Now they need to, and I don't know. They need to pay their store workers a little bit more. I will say that. My side of the house, we pay our associates really well. Like I said, my average wage in my warehouse now is $26.75. This is unskilled, uneducated labor. When I say uneducated, that sounds so bad. Higher educated labor, blue collar work, right? So, that's pretty good. You got a lot of, hell, I got associates who, with the right amount of overtime, make more than my managers do, and so that's just where it is right now. The stores, that's a different story. They need to pay them people more. A lot of theirs, I'll let y'all in a little industry secret. So the store manager, so individual stores at Walmart, their P&L, so their wages that they pay out directly impacts the bonus of their managers. So when you've got 2 people working at a register, that's why. Now, me, on the other hand, I don't have to necessarily worry about that. I get bonus based off my adherence to my P&L, but how much I pay out doesn't really do anything for me. So I'm a little bit more liberal with it. But the stores, so if you ever want to get mad at a store, you see a store manager walking around, it's because their ass is trying to make their money and not have anybody work the register. That's just what it is.
That's why they got that. That's why they got the little scan and go joints.
Yeah, they rather pay two people to watch 27 scan and goes than to have somebody run the register. But I mean, I hear both sides of that coin too. My father hates scan. I'm not gonna. If you ain't gonna give me no discount, I ain't scanning my own stuff. I don't work there, and to some point I get that. For me, it's a convenience thing. For me, it's just easier to go through there. I can scan my stuff quicker. I can get out. I ain't got to worry about having to interact with somebody else, finger fucking my milk and touching my bread and smushing stuff. I ain't got to worry about all that stuff, right? So I don't know. What do you think about scanning goes?
Well, I mean, I think that's just that was a natural progression in the life cycle of retail.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I just I was surprised to see it in places like racetracks, or was it racetracks? Maybe racetracks.
Ever?
QTs. Oh yeah, they got them now.
Really?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And so, but I mean, to your point, back when I was managing stores, your labor is your biggest variable that you can directly impact.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can make your bottom line just by not having to pay so many people and getting the most out of them if you can. You know what I mean? And so I knew that it was even when I was in small boxes, they were pitching that, and this was well before COVID. Eventually it's going to be basically vending machine style. They'll install a robot to go and pick parts or pick different things, and you put your either your vehicle in, just working auto parts, and it puts all the onus on the owner, right? So now you're not getting pissed off at somebody working across the counter. You get pissed off at yourself for putting the wrong stuff in, and for the most part, a robot's not going to make the wrong decision in picking up, the right thing.
Yeah.
Inventory will be tighter, so on and so forth. I mean, once again, it's all a natural progression. This is why I say you have to go out and get a skill of some sort, because it's too easy to get rid of someone who's checking someone out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it is. And once again, to your point, it saves companies tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be in a position to either do something that can't be replaced or do something that can support on the back end these things that are ultimately coming, and that's kind of how I look at it. And so, I mean, do I do scan goes? Absolutely. I don't want to go in shopping anyways. And so I most definitely don't want to sit in line, wait behind someone, then have to small talk with someone else.
Yeah.
Let me just go ahead and get up out of here.
Roll out.
Right. And so, do I think it's the end of whatever? No, I think once again, as long as we continue to evolve, things like this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it'll be our job to figure out a way to go, to adapt. And so the reason I ask you about, whether or not the money would stay is, I feel like all these people who are deciding not to work are being very short-sighted.
Yeah.
Right. Because the fact that there's not a lot of people there means that, hey, you should be able to bring yourself in at some sort of value, right? So once everything goes away and all these different incentives are gone, I would much rather be in a company where I know, kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Maybe I've built relationships, maybe I've networked to, be at a higher level than what I came in as, opposed to all these people now, because to your point, they took away the unemployment. Now you have an influx of people. Now competition is too high, And right now, I mean, honestly, it's the best time. To your point, everybody's giving out a bonus of some sort. Labor is at a premium, so you're getting the highest dollar that you're going to get for that particular job. And maybe you can, I don't know if there's collective bargaining or if there's other different things, at the end of it, maybe there is some way to salvage some of it for those people who have been there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But these are things that you have an option to do if you're working, not if you're coming in begging for a job that everybody else is begging for.
Yeah.
Just thinking outside the box when it comes to that.
What do you think about the government subsidizing, offering tax breaks to companies to pay a living wage?
I think that's the wrong thing to do. I think the market should, I'll wear my libertarian hat here. I think the market should dictate that.
Okay.
If you're not paying a living wage, then people shouldn't want to go work for you.
Yeah.
And so, and in that case, that means you are going to have to look around and say, okay, I'm working at Wendy's, or I'm here at Wendy's trying to hire someone, but Chick-fil-A is up the street, hiring people for $2 more than me. And here I am trying to peddle people for minimum wage. Well, no, I'm going to have to increase my wages in order to attract better talent, right?
Yeah.
Or talent, really. And so things like that, when it comes to especially private businesses and things along those lines, I'm not a big fan of subsidies. Maybe incentives for other things. I don't know. I'm all for the clean air and all these other things that would be more tax break. But to give people more money, to give companies money to then give to employees.
When I give them money, just take less from them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
like a tax break. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, because if you look at the economics of it, right? Like if well, not Walmart, but say McDonald's pays $15 an hour, now that puts your average McDonald's employee over that poverty line, right? So now they don't qualify for certain benefits. And so now it's less of a burden financially on the government. So we can, now incentivize the company to, hey, you know what? We'll cut you 0.25% off your corporate tax rate if you ensure your hourly wage is a living wage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
how do we determine what a living wage is, or is $15 the standard?
Well, I think that's kind of like the if you let Bernie say it, right, that's kind of the starting point, right? And so I think there's a lot of factors that you can get into that. But I'm almost to the point to where it's got to be two-sided. So one, have these companies, they need to pay us, a somewhat livable wage. So let's take in fact of, what the average rent cost is, what are some of the average cost of living, and what you need to work to pay for that, right? And I get it, it's going to be different from New York City versus Atlanta versus Austin versus Topeka, Kansas. And so, that's going to look different. And then we need to go through the second phase of it and really understand how our social net system works. Because right now, our social net system incentivizes you not to work or stay underemployed, because if I make $15 an hour and working 40 hours a week, now I'm making, I don't know what that comes down to, $36,000 a year, maybe. I don't know what that number is.
Yeah, I think 15 is about 30. Yeah.
$30,000, right? So if the poverty line, so say I'm making $30,000, the poverty line is at $29,000. I'm just $1,000 over, but doesn't mean I'm even more poor than what I was before, right? Now at $30,000, I now have more expenses. I've got childcare, I've got food, I've got living expenses, all these things that I was getting paid for by the government when I was making $28,000. And so now I don't have an incentive to work full time, right? So we need to make sure that we don't create a system that incentivizes people not to want to work full time. So hey, let's look at what that poverty line looks like. You're making this wage, working full time at this whatever. Here's what it costs to live in your area. We're going to help subsidize where you are versus supplement where you are. And so, you know what? Child care is going to run you $400 a month. We'll take care of half of that. We'll make sure that you can, you cover that. We'll give you a voucher, a coupon, or whatever. You're.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that, government.
Well, you're in a tax bracket that you ain't got to worry about that. So
that's true.
You wouldn't qualify for any of that. But I don't know. I think that, but I think we say things like that, and I think a lot of people would wholly agree on that. The problem is, and this probably gets into a deeper discussion that we got time for tonight, but is the government creating a way, or not a way, but creating a class of folks that need to be solely dependent on it. And it's how do you create folks not to be independent thinkers, not to be independent contributors, not to be fruitful members of society. It's the government that needs, and this is, I guess you can call it conspiracy theory, right? But it needs people that needs it. And that's the whole reason for create, because they can easily fix, our social net, our social security net system, social net system, right? In order to make it more user friendly. They know that somebody who's making $12,000 a year can't live on their own, but if they make $12,001, then now they're totally on their own and they can't, they know that. So how we make you more dependent on us? Well, you got to make $11,999, which means I can only work 30 hours a week and not 40, but I want to work 40, but I can't,
Yeah, I feel like there's two sides of the fence on that, right? And I don't know. I've been well removed from retail for a long time, where at one point in time, there was a movement to eliminate full-time work, right? And the reason to eliminate full-time work was it saved the company money, because now I don't have to pay benefits. I don't have to, do the whole healthcare thing. I don't have to do all this other stuff. And people pay, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And I think the point that you were making with the dependency bit is very much so that of the Black Republican, right? The government is keeping you down so that you feel like you have to have them, you need them. And I feel, and I've never really prescribed to that notion. I feel like if you're one to go out and work hard and earn and things like that, I felt like that's what you were going to do regardless.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're going to be a lazy bum and things along those lines, then you're going to be a lazy bum. Maybe you'll find some place that will motivate you. You typically, based on, either on the positive with bonuses and incentives and things along those lines, or on the negative with constantly threatening your job. Those people will find their way, right? One way or the other. But there are people who I think solely just are willing to be dependent upon either the government or someone else.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess that's the part that I struggle, because I still feel like there are some social programs that I think should be 100% funded. I still think healthcare should be funded 100%. I think there should be a fund of sort, or I think we should fund more education. From elementary all the way up to college. I think those things still should be funded 100%. I think the emphasis should be changed, and our thought process should be refocused. But I think that there's a better balance that we're just not seeing, and I think with all the bickering, we're just not willing to even really to entertain it and really to think through it.
To try to, I'm with it.
Yeah. So I don't know. maybe that's a good place. Maybe that's a good stopping point for next week.
We can definitely unpack that a lot more, because I don't know, this whole thing is taking the Republican out of me, and I just be like, my God, like I never, never in a million years it would, trying to get people to work, and then like legit, we would. We would like literally have people who would take. So we offer before, and I'll tell you this quick story, right? So we would offer, if work got low, we would offer like VTO, voluntary time off, right? And people knew the rules so much, they would take just enough VTO so where they made just that dollar amount under where they would go, and they would go to file unemployment that week. I mean, we fought so many unemployment, claims for folks that are taking time off voluntarily to try to get more money on the back end of it, right? Oh, well, my company is cut my hours, I'm making less money. Bullshit.
Right.
We're not cutting that. In fact, we've got a at least in the warehouses, we've got a blank check in the sense of, because labor is so tight, we're having to do things that don't necessarily fit our business model, and essentially find work for people to do. You don't want to go home? You don't want to voluntarily go home? All right, bet. We're going to have you, sweep a 1,000,000 square foot warehouse for 6 hours,
Right.
And people are choosing still to go home. I'd rather not get paid than sweep. You're going to pay me to pick up these heavy ass boxes all day, but I'm above pushing a broom.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We can unpack this and a bunch of others next time, because I'm all heated up. Got my blood pressure up. I'm mad all over again thinking about it. Like,
well, I will say, and I'll maybe this was prep for next. I think that's a product of the society that we've lived in.
Yeah.
We are a society that has promoted quick money, fast money, and people don't, the thought of hard work and making a way is a thing of the past for a lot of people. I think for the majority of people, when you see the YouTuber, when you see the I don't know, I mean, the artist or whatever, and they made it big, you automatically think that was an overnight success.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily true. A lot of these people have been doing this for a long time. They've been doing a lot of different
things. In a lot of cars, on a lot of people's couches. Yep. Right.
And so, yeah, I think that's a societal thing. But that's a good segue for next week, for us to unpack.
Yeah. Well, we're officially back. I don't have the theme music, but everyone the listeners should know about Mace and welcome back. So just sing that melody in your head as we're pausing out of here. So appreciate the time and attention. Again, I'm Eugene.
I'm George.
And where's George? And our upgrade. Look at it. I got a microphone.
No, look at that.
$9 Amazon.
Deals.
All right. Good night, folks.
I mean,
see, I cut this thing off. Oh shit! I forgot how to do it now. There we go.